journey, like no journey's ever smooth, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about, being part of it, going undefeated, all that. There's been a lot of ebbs and flows, and like in sports, nobody really talks about the emotion of the game as much. I know that you got hit with like the injury bug at some point.
Exactly.
And, there's a couple different viewpoints on the injury bug. Like, okay, obviously if you hurt, this is just an easy example. You hurt your ankle, you can't go.
Yeah.
You're going to go till you can't go, best believe it, but you can't go. And now not only are you like on the sidelines, doing rehab or doing whatever you got to do, you're also losing behind on another dude getting your reps.
Exactly.
Right? And now it's hard to wrap your mind around because most of the time your room, it's your boys.
Exactly.
And on Saturdays, you want to see him eat.
Yeah, exactly.
But internally, like, you're grinding, man. This is your life right here.
Mm-hmm.
So how was your mental shell, that calloused mindset developed throughout, your journey of getting hit with the injury bug?
Yeah, no, it definitely, I would say, took time because I remember my freshman year, I had a really good freshman year. It was getting to the point that, I was, being looked at, at a very high level, especially as a running back from Georgia, getting first quarter running reps, against schools like Bama and Tennessee, like getting within that first quarter rotation. So, getting hit with when I first sprained my MCL, that was definitely kind of the first, like damn moment because never really had dealt with no real injury, never had to, sit out time, miss time. So that was kind of the first moment. So, that was definitely a time that I felt that sense of kind of depression, you know what I mean?
Tough.
Like, especially when it's in the middle of the season and it's, you see everybody going to practice, doing workouts, and you have a sleeve with a brace on and, limping around and can't really do nothing. Like you said, it's tough, but, just kind of going through and especially getting to the back end of my college career, at a certain point when you deal with stuff, like you kind of just start looking at it from a different sense, you know what I mean? So at a certain point, I grew the mindset that everything happens for a reason, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point, I only can do the controllable. I can't focus on, what's going on out there. I can't focus on, I can't think about when I'm gonna get back. All I could think about is what I'm doing right now to, prepare myself to get back, things like that. So I would say at a certain point, I kind of grew like a bigger sense for not really getting frustrated, but kind of just, letting God just kind of take the wheel and focus on, okay, this is part of the journey that was made for me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that was really kind of the mindset that I built.
It's much easier said than done.
100%.
Because when you get in that, like, there's such a window of opportunity in this thing, man. And like,
You only get 13 games? Like you practice the whole off season.
yeah,
Only 13 games. And, when you're not able to capitalize on all those 13 games, it's disappointing at a point.
and I feel like football players, one thing, and there's all these debates out of what sport's the hardest, what sport, the basketball shit, that was insane. But I don't think people understand, like, you're wired where you're like, I could go.
Football, it's what do they say? It's 100% rate that at some point you will deal with some type of injury.
Oh,
You can't escape it. It's what do they say? It's a collision sport. It's a gladiator sport. Like if you look at it, it's really a bunch of, guys crashing out. You know what I mean?
it's really wild if you really break it down.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you look at it aside from, okay, it's a sport, like it's wild what like you said, the switch that you're able to flip to
Dude.
get into that moment of like, this is what I want to do. Like I want to, dominate somebody for 4 quarters, things like that.
It's a switch that is very unique to flip. And I'll say, like, I don't know how you would compare it. Other sports, there's switches, don't get me wrong, but there's a different type of adrenaline. And
the physicality that you know what I mean? It's the physicality that you're looking at the guy on the other side of the ball. And
Dude. You do things you do things you didn't know you could do.
Sure.
You're like, damn, like I had that dog in me.
Especially times you be in the game, because a lot of things are just kind of their instincts.
Yeah, reactive.
With certain times, I remember times in the game where I would hit a spin move and I would get to the sideline like, I ain't never practiced. I ain't never worked on that. Like, where'd that come from? But,
Yeah.
I love the sport just because it's one of the sports that it's like you playing with so many of your brothers that you work with, that it's like when everything's going good, y'all come together. But even when everything's going bad, y'all come together at the same time. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love the sport.